So we want to use our scenes. Remember, we talked about scenes, these masters on the side, and they select a whole row at a time. So this whole row will be bits of our arrangement. Let's start with the minimum. Our drum track is the first one we have on here. So everything else we will move down. Our first part of our arrangement will just be drums. Right? We want the drums to continue. So you can do this in one of two ways. Either on your drum track, you can right click and remove the stop button. This is probably the easiest way of doing it, but it's not as visually obvious as the second method, which is simply to copy our loop that we have at the top down to the next scene. To do that, hold in Alt, click, and drag down. We want to add something into our next scene together with our drums. So let's say we want our synth to then come in. This is our synth track, the second one. And so we want nothing there but drums and the synth. So again, we drag everything down one. So if we have a listen to our arrangement, starting with our first scene, moving on to our second scene. And so we can build it. And you can do that with all your tracks. I've created my arrangement. If you have a look at the different scenes, on my first scene, I only have some drums. On the second scene, I add a little bit of the synth as well. Third scene down, I've added the bass. Then on the next scene, a lot more drums come in and the bass changes slightly. Fifth scene, I have a lot more in there. I have a counter melody in there. And a lot more drums, and then everything drops down to just a drum sample. This is a classic EDM technique known as a drop. Then want to slowly build up. As you can see, then I add some more in before we are on the climax right at the end. Now this, as it stands at the moment, is a nice arrangement, but we want to edit and tweak it a bit more. So you can do a lot more with panning and volume automation and so on, which we'll do in a next episode. For now, this is what we've got. That's what we've got at the moment. See you next time for our next installment on how to move this to the timeline and edit it further.